Brian Carroll. This is a question that I get a lot about tuning the stiffness, using the abdominal brace. Believe it or not, some people over stiffen for things they don't need to. Now, to answer the question, you don't need to stiffen as hard as you can, especially when you're moving around day to day. Now, some people are going to need a little bit of stiffness when they're sitting just to keep the stability of their spine, to sit in the posture they want. Just a little bit of stiffness and they keep it there. The way I describe this is like a dimmer switch in a room. If it's all the way down, it's on 0, there's no light in the room. You put it all the way up, it's at a 10, the lights are completely on. So you don't want to have your lights completely on all the time. Now, specific to people dealing with a back injury, if they're compressive forces intolerant, they definitely don't want to be over stiffening. So you got to tune the brace for what you're doing on that particular task, that particular day, how you're feeling, all that good stuff. Now, when they're lifting, they're going to need to make sure, especially if they have episodes of back pain in their history, that they're locked in and rigid under the bar, but they're not always going to be stiffening as hard as they can. Now that we've talked about the back pain person or the back pain client or athlete, the general powerlifter or strongman should not be stiffening as hard as they can when it's at sub-maximal weights. They should tune the stiffness for how much weight is on the bar and how much stiffness is going to be demanded of them at that time and nothing else. So if you're an 800-pound squatter and you're stiffening as hard as you can, pushing out laterally and locking down with everything you have, the rhomboid squeeze, the lats pulled down in the back pocket, all those different things that we talk about in Gift of Injury and 1020 Life. If you're doing that absolutely as hard as you can with that light weight, then you could end up causing yourself some problems. It's not necessary. You're putting a lot of compressive forces on the spine unnecessarily. So lighten it up a little bit. Let's say you're squatting 300 or 400 pounds and you're an 800-pound squatter. Keep the stiffness at about 50%, maybe a little bit more than that. But again, that's just an idea. This isn't an exact metric for you to follow. Like it's, if you're squatting 300, you need a 4 out of 10 stiffness and no more, absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I don't want you to do, I don't want you to under-stiffen, but what I don't want you to do is over-stiffen doing the things around your house, because you hear Brian Carroll say, stiffen your core when you're walking around, and you're walking around like Frankenstein, locking down and growling at everybody. That's not what we're trying to do with that. We need enough stiffness for what you're trying to do. Now, if you're around the house and you're trying to pick up something heavy, I would hope that you would stiffen up, depending on the task at hand and what you're doing, enough to keep control of your spine and keep it from buckling and keep it from having micro movements and from moving. Hello, I want to talk to you real quick about my CBD line. Now, I don't want to do a Patreon account. I don't want to hide certain videos on this account that I think are very valuable. So I'm asking you, if you like CBD, to support my channel, to try out my products. I have great 100% CBD isolate products. I have the isolate drops in both natural flavor and cinnamon, 100% CBD, no THC in it whatsoever. The testing's on the website. I also have a product called CryoFreeze, 1,000 milligrams of CBD isolate, no THC, mixed with a special menthol formula, similar to a BioFreeze, but with a gram of CBD in this. Then, of course, I have 4 different balms. I have a lemongrass balm, a sage balm, a lavender balm, and I have a natural balm. And these you use multiple times a day. They will help reduce your pain and take it away a little bit, or take the edge off. So if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube, please support me. The link's below for these products. Thank you so much. But if you're just bending down to tie your shoe and you're doing a lunge pattern, you need to sip a little bit of air, grab some stiffness, so a little bit of stiffness, lunge in, lunge back out, stand up, let go of the stiffness. So again, I'm going to link the video right here of me showing the proper abdominal brace. That's only part of the entire lifter's wedge. When we start talking about the lifter's wedge, we're talking about the pecs, the lats, the core as a whole. But the abdominal brace, we're really talking about the internal and external obliques, and we push them out laterally, pushing them out, filling the belt up laterally there. That's how you do a proper abdominal brace. For whatever reason, they still teach you want to draw TA in and try to touch the belly button to the spine. That's not going to create maximum stiffness for you. It's not going to make your back as locked in as much as possible. And you're not going to be using these important lateral oblique muscles, internal and external oblique, to lock in and to keep your abdominals braced. The abdominal brace, that's why they call it that. So once again, you don't need to use as much stiffness as possible. You need to tune it for the demands of what you're doing and how much you're lifting. You can cause detriment to your body by over stiffening, so don't do that. Practice it. Lighten stiffening for doing things around the house. If you're a back pain person, tune it. But if you're not a back pain person, it's not just about as much stiffness as possible on every lift. Tune it. That way you can turn that meter up, turn that switch, that light switch, you can turn it up just a little bit each time, the dimmer switch. And that way when you're going for a maximal weight on that day, you'll have it there and you know how to tune it. And you haven't been using it up just squatting 315 or something like that. So once again, tune stiffness for everything, whether you're back pained or not. And if you're not back pained and you don't do a proper abdominal brace, I would suggest you try one now. I can coach you through it if you reach out to me. It's simple, but you need to know what you're doing. And then further, you got to incorporate the pecs and the musculature of the trunk to lock in that lifter's wedge on the top half. And of course, the hips do the same thing by gripping the floor and externally rotating. You're trying to spread the floor between, and then you meet right there at the waist, and hopefully you're locked in and solidified for a big squat or a big deadlift. So once again, don't stiffen as much as you can, stiffen as much as necessary, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching today. Please subscribe, like, and share if you enjoyed this video, and have a wonderful day.